It is therefore my pleasure, Mr. Speaker, to welcome the young lady, and I hope that she's going to be able to meet her expectations here in Kenya. Welcome, and thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Mr. Speaker, I want to thank you for giving me this opportunity to also welcome the delegate from Namibia. I had the chance to visit that country when I was studying in South Africa in my high school days at the African Leadership Academy. Therefore, we welcome you to Kenya, and I hope that you learn the best from this upper house, and even generally from our parliament. And to the students from Moi Kabarak as well, this is the house that deals with a lot of issues with regard to money and resources that come to our counties, and everything to do with devolution. There's a lot to learn from this house, and therefore we also welcome you to learn as much as you can from Parliament, and I thank you, Mr. Speaker, for that opportunity. I hope they'll have a good time in Senate.
Now, honorable senators, I have another communication to make. Now, honorable senators, the leadership of the Senate across the political divide met today, this morning, Wednesday, the 20th of August, 2025. And during that meeting, the leadership noted with grave concern the allegations of bribery and extortion made against the institution of Parliament in general and the Senate in particular. The leadership of the Senate has also noted that the allegations have not included material particulars, including the specific individual senators against whom the allegations of bribery are made. Senators are called to a very high office of responsibility and accountability, and are required under the Constitution to live up to a very high standard of integrity and accountability. This is the thrust of a number of provisions of the Constitution, including Articles 1, Sub-Article 3, and Articles 10, as well as Chapter 6 of the Leadership and Integrity of State Officers. Senators take and subscribe to an oath of office to obey, respect, uphold, preserve, protect, and defend the Constitution. It follows, therefore, that allegations of bribery and extortion made against senators merit the most urgent and deliberate action and intervention. Honorable senators, to fight corruption requires a systematic and integrated approach in which all organs of the government collaborate and cooperate to the extent of their respective spheres. To this end, while there exist constitutional and statutory agencies for preventing, detecting, and prosecuting corrupt acts, and while the judiciary adjudicates on such matters, the legislature too has robust mechanisms for addressing the vice. Now, honorable senators, as you are aware, the Parliamentary Powers and Privileges Act, Cap 6 of the laws of Kenya, has an elaborate framework for Parliament to deal with errant legislators. Section 15, subsection 5 of this Act mandates the Committee of Powers and Privileges, which is chaired by the Speaker, either of its own motion or as a result of a complaint made by any person, to inquire into the conduct of a member whose conduct is alleged to constitute breach of privilege in terms of Section 16 within 14 days of receipt of that particular complaint, and to make recommendations to the House for its appropriate action. Part of the conduct that is prohibited under this Act includes improper influence of members of Parliament, fraud, intimidation, offer or promise of any inducement or benefit of any kind of a member in the performance of the member's functions. It is prohibited for members to solicit, receive, or accept any fee, compensation, gift, reward, favor, or benefit of any kind for undertaking or for going to undertake their functions. Honorable Senators, for the Senate to invoke this framework, it is most helpful that the information available to the executive and other organs and agencies or other persons is shared with the Senate. As the Speaker of the Senate, I have not received any complaint or information relating to bribery or extortion or any other corrupt practice against a senator from a member of the executive, ministries, department, or agencies of government, a governor, or other county government agencies. If I do receive such complaint, I am obligated and I will take the necessary stern action without delay. Now, honorable senators, concerns have also been expressed about the manner in which Senate has prosecuted its mandate relating to the impeachment hearings for the proposed removal of state officers. The conduct of the Senate in matters impeachment is a matter of public record. It does not show any consistent pattern of acquittal or confirmation of impeachment charges. Of the 19 impeachment proceedings that the Senate has undertaken since 2014, in 8 instances, the Senate has found the charges against the state officer to have been substantiated and has confirmed the impeachment. While in 9 instances, the Senate has found the charges not to be substantiated and has not confirmed the impeachment against the state officers. Notably, in 2 instances, the Senate has dismissed the proposed impeachment for failure to meet the threshold of the law. The Senate has conducted the impeachment proceedings in accordance with the Constitution and the laws and has made its determination on the basis of the evidence and the law. I repeat, the Senate has conducted the impeachment proceedings in accordance with the Constitution and the law and has made its determination on the basis of the evidence and the law. In respect, as in the matters, in this respect, as in the other matters, the Senate welcomes information of any evidence of inducement or other impropriety by any senator for appropriate action in this regard. Honorable Senators, in the course of the last 1 week, statements have been made questioning the constitutional mandate of the Senate to oversight a particular category of state officers, namely county governors. It has been contended that the oversight role of the Senate should be limited to the national government and that oversight over county governors is a preserve of county assemblies. Article 96 of the Constitution sets out as part of the role of the Senate to represent the counties and to protect the interests of counties and their governments. Article 96, Subarticle 3, is explicit that the Senate determines the allocation of the national revenue among counties as provided for in Article 217 of the Constitution and exercises oversight over national revenue allocated to county governments. I repeat that one. Article 96.3 is explicit that the Senate determines the allocation of the national revenue among counties as provided for in Article 217 of the Constitution and exercises oversight over national revenue allocated to the county governments. That is the Constitution. Furthermore, Article 125 of the Constitution decrees that either House of Parliament and any of its committees has power to summon any person to appear before it for the purpose of giving evidence or providing information. This is exactly what the Senate has been doing and will continue doing. Apart from the clear provision of the Constitution on the matter, the superior courts have made a number of decisions addressing the questions of jurisdiction of the Senate to summon and exercise oversight county governors and other county government officials, and the demarcation of the oversight function between the Senate and the county assemblies. In the High Court petition number 334 of 2016, Kialo Kamina versus Senate and others, the court held as follows on the question of oversight responsibility of the Senate. And I quote, "The Senate and the county governments are to work together to ensure that the purpose of devolution is achieved. The two bodies cannot work separately, and since the county government receives funds from the national level, they cannot check themselves. Accountability has to come from a body not within the county level, thus the Senate." These are the words of the courts. The Supreme Court in petition number 24 of 2019 between the Senate and the Council of Governors and others, while also considering the issue of the mandate of the Senate, the court stated as follows, and I quote, "The purpose of the Constitution is to entrench good governance, the rule of law, accountability, transparency, and prudent management of public finances at both levels of government. Such grand purpose cannot be served if either the Senate or county assemblies begin to develop centers of oversight influence. In this regard, the county assemblies provide the first tier of oversight, while the Senate provides the second and final tier of oversight." This is a pronouncement by the court. In the end, the Supreme Court held that in the performance of its oversight role over county revenue, the Senate has powers to summon county governors to answer any question or provide and requisite information. On this matter of the oversight jurisdiction of the Senate, therefore, the Senate cannot yield or concede. Unless the Constitution is amended, the constitutional mandate of the Senate is non-negotiable or discretionary. It is a solemn trust invested on the Senate, while the Senate will continue to discharge faithfully and without fear or favor. Now, honorable senators, let me conclude by making an impassioned plea to the executive, other agencies of government, county governments, and other persons that it is incumbent on all of us to protect the institution of the legislature, which is the cornerstone of democracy. Holding the legislature to account and requiring the highest standards of integrity is laudable, but it needs to be followed by collaborative action with the legislature itself by favoring the appropriate officers of the legislative arm with information available to the executive and to other agencies so that the legislature can invoke mechanisms at its disposal to take swift and stern action against inerrant members. The executive, as well as other agencies and all persons, should also support the Senate in its oversight role in defense of the devolved system of government, which our people so painstakingly weaved together for themselves in order to address the disparities and inequalities and other injustices of previous centralized constitutional order. I thank you, honorable senators.